That's it.
All right. Call this Town of Vinalhaven Select Board meeting for January 3rd, 2023 to order. Roll call. Jake Thompson is absent or will be arriving late. Leslie Dyer is online. Don Young, myself, Pam Alley, Elizabeth Bunker, Deputy Town Clerk, taking minutes, Marjorie Stratton, Town Manager. Do we have any additions?
Well,
Subtractions to
Ryan
the-
and I had a meeting today and we're wondering if we could just give a brief report, maybe under cemetery committee report,
All right, so under 7E,
7C. Or
Or
wherever
make it E
and
wherever
then
you would
we'll
like it.
Make it E and then we'll squeeze it in ahead.
we have cemetery committee report on here.
Right.
Yeah, you can put it in the form, I mean, I'll probably stay on the whole meeting anyway, so.
So what is the on
I
the
just- I
cemetery
made
committee
it-
or is on something?
On ambulance.
Ryan is the
Oh,
ambulance
sorry.
director, so I'd like
Ambulance.
to add an ambulance report. I
All right.
apologize, I wasn't clear.
So 7E, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I move we approve the agenda as updated.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, approve the minutes from the December 13th, 2022 select board meeting.
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 4. Approve and sign treasurer's warrants number 27.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, communications.
Thank you.
Do we have any
I have
communications?
none.
Okay. Number 6, speakers from the floor. Seeing none, we will move on to 7, committee and department reports appointment. 7A, Sea Level Rise Committee, reconfirm and appoint members.
So I gave you a list in a memo. I talked to Linnell and she said that we had a few of the positions incorrect. So I felt like I could just list them out and let's reconfirm the whole list and, you know, be done with it instead of trying to do it piecemeal.
Sure.
We could just do that.
All right. Do we have to make a motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I make a motion that we
Confirm.
appoint and confirm
Yes.
Yvonne Thomas to the Sea Level Rise Committee with a term ending in June of 2023. I also move that we appoint and confirm Gabe McPhail, Linnell Mather to the Sea Level Rise Committee with terms expiring in June of 2024. And further, I move that we appoint and confirm Marion Grogan, Margaret Quayle, and Kevin Donovan to the Sea Level Rise Committee for terms ending in June of 2025.
So moved.
Second. All those.
Aye.
Perfect. All right, 7B, Cemetery Committee report.
You want to move the ambulance report up? Or I'm just saying, because Eric said he would be here the whole time.
All right, then we'll move to 7E, ambulance report.
So I guess what Ryan and I were meeting about is, you know, because of, or do you want to go ahead, Ryan?
Yeah, sure. I went ahead and wrote a letter a couple days ago. Fortunately, that hasn't gotten to you until now, but the problem we're facing with the ambulance service now is kind of twofold. There's the present issue and then there's the longer term issue. Present issue is really, we have, I mean, it's nothing new that hasn't been on the island forever. We have fairly low numbers for the department. And that's putting a strain on a large amount of the crew. Me getting here took a lot of that burden off. But nonetheless, the issue is still there. The recent compounding issue is the Chief Candidate's surgery. He's currently out. He's not able to participate in calls for next something like 4 or 5 months. Still going with that. Mark and I typically handle daytime calls, which takes a lot away from the ask of the volunteers. Now that he's not able to do that for the next several months, I have to ask my volunteers to backfill into day shifts as well as night shifts. which is typically more than we ask of them. And it's quite a bit of an ask of a volunteer crew to give away their daytime hours that they use for whatever else they need to do, their regular work, et cetera.
And also
to-
Pat Lindholm's
yes,
completely
she's
retired too, so
Oh,
that
so
was a.
she-
Pat is
another-
greatly lowering the amount of call time that she's going to be doing going forward, and in the long term would like to retire, which is understandable perfectly. So the two primary people that tend to take a lot of shifts are no longer there, and we're now having to ask volunteers to fill day shifts that they don't normally. And that's, as I said, a big ask of volunteer groups that have other things they need to do in their life to make their income, et cetera. And really, and the second part of that issue is going forward, it's difficult to convince new talent locally to get involved with the service with the amount of work that we ask of them. It is a volunteer service, but really a lot more goes into that than work when you can. We ask for a pretty sizable amount of their time. 12-hour shifts is typically what we ask. There's a lot that they can't do during those 12 hours. They obviously can't partake in any adult activities. They're limited in their geographic distance they can be from the station, et cetera, et cetera. And typically if they're on the island during the day fulfilling a day shift and they're not able to take part in their regular employment a lot of the time, certainly fishermen, et cetera, that kind of thing. It's difficult to pitch that to the community and get people to get involved and stay regularly involved. So for the short term, what I'm proposing, Chief Candage's surgery started in November. For the month of December, I would like to do a one-time stipend for the 3 personnel that provided the most amount of shift coverage for the department. They did that without any expectation of financial reimbursement, and 2 individuals in particular really stepped up and filled a lot of those shifts. Jeff Harrison and Denise Hopkins went well above and beyond of what we would normally ask of a volunteer. Jeff Harrison himself, north of 450 hours, he was on call. He took part in about 15 of the 17 calls that went on this month. He did an overnight ferry run where he got stuck in the mainland. He did 2 other ferry runs. Those take about 5-6 hours generally. A lot of time that he's given that took him away from other things that he could be doing. So certainly those 2 individuals, I would like to compensate them for that with a bonus for the month of December. Moving forward, I would like to adjust the pay structure that we typically use to increase that money a little bit. Some of the details are there in that letter. That's the long-term goal. There's going to need to keep a close eye on the budget for the rest of this fiscal year. Marjorie and I are working on allocating some grant funding and seeking out the new grant funding to cover the increased cost of that. It shouldn't be a terribly large increase, but it will be a small increase nonetheless. But that is the issue as it stands and kind of what I intend to do to address both of those things.
I support the bonus for the people that have stepped up. I think it's important that we keep their morale up.
Yes,
And going forward, as Ryan said, I mean, we've been looking at the budget very closely, but the wage line is really good right now. We're well under we should be around 50%. We're well under that. Where are we?
39.
Yeah.
Something.
So we're certainly keep an eye on that, but I think it's important to recognize hard work and,
Absolutely.
yeah.
yes. Do we know how big the bonuses are? I'm not saying no, I'm just curious.
It's gonna be graduated 300, 400, and 500. I'd like to give Jeff 500. Is that, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I know he's on call a lot. And Denise, I mean, you see people out and about, so, oh, whatever.
Is that, so that'll come from the ambulance
Yeah.
line? Okay,
Is there a reserve fund?
We have equipment and education.
Right,
do we think that's enough for the month of December? For those 2? I mean, that's a lot of hours they put in.
open to,
Do we think we should be more? I mean,
Well, that is what hours. I mean, I don't know what, I don't know what the budget, like say with 39.
For
Point.
reference, Marjorie and I discussed that number we assume, based on historical, typically the wage line tends to come under, so we kind of projected what a theoretical underage would be for this year. So that's, those numbers were based off of what money we think is going to be available. If the board feels that money can come from other areas, and it's worth it to give to the crew, I'm
right,
certainly not opposed to one more.
Well, I mean, this would be for just recognizing the month of December,
Yeah.
correct? I mean, we've got,
we still have 6 more months, I guess,
Right.
so we can, if
So-
we get close to the end, we can revisit.
always,
yeah,
Yeah, all right, so that's fine. I'll leave it, if you two have come up with the numbers, then
okay.
that's fair.
And then, moving forward, we are trying to look at grants, and one area that I thought of was those ARPA funds. I think one of the things that you can use that money for is for stipends for emergency personnel, isn't
Yep.
that correct?
I believe so.
So maybe I could clarify that, and we could use some of that money in the budget. To make some increases on what we can pay people for these on-call. Those
Going
12-hour shifts. Anyway,
Ryan's proposing a stipend for the EMTs that have covered most of the shifts while Mark's had his shoulder surgery for the last month.
yeah, no, I think any money that we can possibly get to use for some, extra things like that is,
we're just looking for your support. I think there's money in the budget, and
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I
certainly have my
don't
support.
think anybody has an issue with that, right?
okay.
No.
Good.
Okay.
And thank you, Ryan, for all you've been doing. You jumped right in with both feet. Yeah, don't want to wear you out.
Please don't go.
I'll probably do another 6 months. I'll talk again after that.
Okay. Well, it's hard, I know, especially winter months, it's hard to have to go on the ferry when it's rough and. It's a lot to it. So we appreciate everything you do.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay,
Right?
thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
we will go back to 7B Cemetery Committee report.
Just thought, with the budget season coming up, to give you an outline of what our plans are, what we've kind of accomplished and what we plan to do. So if anyone's been down by Roberts Cemetery, we've been having a crew just really taking it right down pretty much to grass and just getting that completely cleaned up. The boundary line same way. So then after this one-time cleaning, whoever's doing the mowing and weed whacking should keep it from getting how it seemed to be coming each time we've done a cleanup in the past. So. And then,
Are there any like stakes or anything marking where the lines are so they should know how far to mow over to, or just they should know because that's where it's clear to?
yeah, most of the cemeteries, the town ones, it's pretty clear where they're at. And Noel was good, Noel Webster on that line, he said, if you got to go across the line to cut a tree or bush, go ahead, ship all the stuff on my land and stuff, so. Luckily, in the past, it had a metal fence, so there's bits and pieces along there. And same way when you go to Cummings, you got the road and then you've got stone wall and down the side, so. And then like we'd like to do here, which of course there'll be no problem. Cause it's town land both sides, but kind of to clear that out. Cause then you actually, if we clear this out, you could actually access this area in back if the town wanted to do something. with that too. And also talked to Faye about the other boundary lines, about branches and trees coming across, and she said anything comes across, you can cut it where it comes across. So we've tried to, like you say, make sure we're doing what we're supposed to. Also, Mike has talked to, like Emily Lane, which last time I had Public Works do it. They just cut everything off on her lot, and so we double checked with what was there, made sure it was an ornament, and we marked it, and Mike went, hands on, so we're trying to avoid some of the problems in the past of being a little too aggressive. So. And then we have a guy from Newcastle, Thomas Stevens, he does the repairing of stones. And we hope to get him onto the curbing. There are a few more stones that need to be repaired, but we've had him working in Carver Cemetery, where it's the biggest cemetery and the most problems and issues. So. And then once we get that done, as you can see, where we plan to go. And we reached out to Joe Lazaro about his projects to replace the damaged veteran flag holders. In the past, we've reached out to the Legion, hasn't gone too well. One of the issues is they've been putting out rather generic US veteran flag holders, and for the people whose family, were combat veterans of World War I, World War II, Vietnam, they would like to have the one that is specific to their war, their service. So, but Joe raised a bunch of money, which the town had been paying for these holders, but Joe did a fundraiser and raised a lot of money, so. I have talked to him personally and shared some of our concerns, and I've invited him to our meeting, but he hasn't been able to come yet, so we're hoping, we can be on the same page with this. So that it's not kind of counterproductive.
Yep.
I've asked the committee, if they have a larger project that we need to fund. There are some perpetual care funds, there's always the Mary Talbot funds. So when we do our budget, if they have these longer term or larger projects, we can try to bring some money in from perpetual care to do those larger projects instead of going to operating funds. So I just, I believe you're getting some estimates on certain things like the stone setting and all that.
Right.
Okay.
The guy that does the stone, he did these estimates like back in 2016, 17, so he's gonna just look at what he's got and get back to us. Once we're done with the project over the Robert Cemetery, then we'll take Virgil over here and we'll look at what needs to be done so he can give us, an estimate. And he was right on with the estimate that he gave for the other, for Robert, so we're not just saying, just cut it and give us a bill. It's like, okay, let us know, what you're gonna charge us, so.
The
But
stone-
boundaries, we didn't realize we had this much money available. That's why each year we've been asking for $10,000 a year to do this stuff, that we didn't realize that there was that much money available.
Yeah, because we've put that into the budget for the stone repair, I believe, right? That's why we've been putting that aside, so.
Mhm.
All
But
right.
then it somehow got pulled out last year.
It did?
I think it did because it didn't get spent the year before, so we just said there should be money in the reserve.
Enough to
account,
cover it,
right?
okay, well, if we want
Cause it
to,
just goes in, it's a cemetery reserve account, right, that you
Yeah.
guys use, is that how it works?
It's, the perpetual care fund has two parts. Part of it is the endowment. So when you buy a lot, part of that goes into an endowment or perpetual care that we can't spend, and part of it goes into an expendable fund, and then the interest is expendable. So we've got about 48,000 that's available to spend.
okay. But we've been putting money into that.
Into
portion,
a
right?
fund, I thought it was like the reserve account or whatever.
There's a
cemetery.
reserve account?
Or maybe not a reserve, I can't remember what the name.
Because
technical
in
name is.
certain items, we would be certain line items in the budget, like for the ambulance. We were setting money aside into the reserve, knowing we were gonna have like,
Right,
purchase
and it
something.
might not be a reserve account, but I mean, last year we didn't put 10,000 in because.
The money hadn't been
used it
spent.
the year before or the year before
Mhm.
that, I think.
Right.
So I think that's why it got.
But we didn't
cut.
take money out.
no,
right?
no,
no,
we
no.
didn't
Put it
add-
in.
we didn't put another,
That's what my recollection was,
that's, yeah,
because you guys were having a hard time getting. The guy to come out here and do the
Right,
stone, yeah.
But I don't think that was, put anywhere, it's like from, like the year before. But that's where we came this year, where he didn't come. And we hired Virgil, and then I went to see Marjorie and mentioned the 10,000, Marjorie's like, what 10,000? So then that started this whole conversation, so anyway,
but we should have enough,
oh, yeah.
okay.
And,
Well, if we need to start adding back again, then we should put that into this year's
We have
budget.
enough in the budget right now, but we don't, if there's a project that they wanted to do this year, then they'd have to come and say, can we use some money out of the
Yeah.
perpetual care?
right, so
Okay.
that's what we'll do when we find out from Stevens, and then when we find out. About Virgil's next estimate, so I think this process of every time we get an estimate, then we come before you guys and, say, okay, what do you think? So,
Okay,
I mean. The private ones are worse, but the public ones are pretty bad. Didn't let go. but-
Yeah, but I mean, what was it? It was only 5 years ago when someone finally figured out that we had to go take care of the. Veteran ones in the private cemetery, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah, because I came and got talking to Andy, and the original cemetery they were going to do was up the Cowboys Neck. And I'm like, well, why? And he said, well, that's the one, because they have enough money to do it. I said, but it's not a town cemetery. What do you mean it's not? So, there wasn't even good records that showed which was town and which wasn't. So then I got him on track, and then this bit, like you say, about having to go out to these outlying cemeteries and do the veterans lots and stuff. So, I mean, when I got on the committee, I got appointed in June. We hadn't met, and it was January, and I came to Andy and said, shouldn't we meet and discuss a budget at least? So now we probably meet about a half a dozen times a year to go over stuff and keep things going, so. It's
Okay.
working out pretty well, I think.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, just come back to us when you have the estimates and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Eric. All right, so we'll move on to 7C, Woodard and Curran status report.
Let's see, so the transfer station project is out to bid. I think the bid opening is January 12th. So that's moving along. The plans for the EDA portion of the project are under review. What we're concentrating on right now are the easements and we are planning to have a meeting with the stakeholders or the property owners the week of January 9th, if the easements and maps are ready to present for them to sign. Because we can't get the notice to proceed until all of those easements are signed, at least that's my understanding.
what happens if someone doesn't sign on?
Cross that bridge when we come to it. I mean, I think there were one or two that never signed on the sewer project and, I don't expect any resistance, but
Well, I mean,
you
like
never
if
know.
someone just, spaces on it, can we still go forward if there's one missing or
Oh, yeah,
that's what I was just.
I believe.
Well,
Hopefully everyone signs them, and like you said, okay. I didn't know
Yes.
if there was a process to like,
they'll sign.
if you gave them so much time to sign it and they didn't say yes or no, that it was just considered a yes or something. I didn't know if that was.
no,
Oh.
that's not.
So what is this about?
The easements for the
Side or.
downtown project,
That's all I need to know.
And the pipe. Not
Yeah,
just-
well,
yeah,
everything like.
everything.
just-
The
it's
downtown
Basically,
project.
mostly the
Right.
sidewalk,
Yeah,
because people, they're not technically town owned, some of them
right.
here and there.
Oh,
Let's see. Does anybody have any other questions?
So we should have any bids that we receive on the transfer station next week.
Yes.
Okay.
So who, do we open those at the selectmen's meeting, the next one we have, or do you open them, or how does that work? They go to Brent?
The owner is usually responsible for opening the bids, so
So we'd wait
I'll get some
until,
details. on
we'd wait
that.
until the 17th to open them, right? If it was the 12th, because that'll be our next meeting, is that
Yeah.
what you assume?
No, because the contractors, if we said that we're gonna open them on the 12th, then we have to, I'll get clarification on that.
Yeah, because I will be out of town next week. But that doesn't mean we can't open them and.
I mean, I think Marjorie can open them without us, right? I mean, we don't all have to be present. You just have to be present to vote on it, right?
Right,
Right.
to accept
Right.
the one that.
So,
we
yeah, you
accept.
could, I mean, I assume that you could open them and then let us know. I
Right.
think that's what happened on the. When we got the humongous bids on the transfer station, I don't remember being here when they were open, but Andy presented them to us.
Yeah,
and said
Andy would
how they
usually
were over
open the
budget.
bids and tell us what they were at the next meeting. Okay. Any other questions? On this item?
Mm,
All right. 7D downtown project update.
Well, I didn't know if I'd have a report from Gabe or not. And so I did enter that on the agenda, but I don't have anything specific.
Okay. All right, then,
Well, she's on vacation,
This week, yeah.
and we're not gonna meet again until,
17.
The selectmen,
no, the
selectmen.
downtown committee till February. Will that be our next?
oh, the downtown the water district.
Usually we meet the first Thursday of the month. So just for
Okay.
updates, you know, from.
Well, I
everybody.
think, as Marjorie said, they're mostly working on the easements, right? That's where the project is right now, so I wouldn't anticipate too many updates. All right, so move on to 9, new business. A 2023-24 budget meeting schedule.
This is just a printout from last year's schedule. Just to give you some idea of what you did last year, so I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts about a budget schedule for this year.
Yeah, is there any way that those can get moved?
I was gonna say, we want to pull those back, right?
So like-
Start in February.
Like 1st of February?
Yeah, early February.
Yeah, last year we got. Some, I can't remember what happened, but. We didn't start, we were gonna start like the last meeting in January, or the first one in February, whenever it worked, and then we. For some reason it got. Something happened with the budget book, so the budget, I can't remember what happened, but.
It's Elizabeth's fault.
I did it.
No, I don't know.
Sounds about right,
I don't know what happened.
but yeah, if we could start those early, like. Whatever the first meeting in February is, would be better than the last meeting in February, I
All
think.
right, so we're meeting.
14 would be the first in February.
Well, how about the
Well, no.
31st then?
Yeah, 31st of January.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be gone the 13th. So the 12th of February, and probably not home until March 1st or 2nd.
Damn.
Well, that's about when I leave, so.
But we haven't been away since
Well,
20.
you haven't been.
So we can start on the,
Go ahead,
Last
Leslie.
year, Jake, you zoomed in, I remember.
No,
For-
I'll zoom in from,
Yeah.
if I'm not busy.
Well, we
but-
should start them sooner than last year, because
Yeah.
I'd rather be
Yes,
done by the end of
agreed.
March than
Yes.
than the
So-
first week.
I
of
just as
April.
soon not be sitting on my computer for 2 hours when I'm in Florida, so.
Right.
Also, but I will, I did last
So
year,
when did you say you're gone?
I'm gone the 12th of February till the 1st of March.
but if our first
Okay.
meeting's
Just
not till the
couple weeks.
14th of February, I think we should maybe try
No,
to
we
have
can-
one on the
we can-
31st.
We can meet on the 31st.
Do a few
start
with
on
it,
the 31st
yeah.
Yeah,
with the same kind of things,
We-
wage, debt service and capital projects, is that kind of the same?
I mean,
Whatever you.
some of the times we'd pick off like an easy one, like the select board one, that's.
Yeah, the things that
$3,000, you
really
know,
is
yeah.
no discussion. it's
The ones that
cut and
won't,
dry.
yeah, like social security, Medicare, that's not gonna, whatever ones we can knock off quickly, that's.
Yeah,
The only
It's
thing
first,
is, if
but-
you.
I think last year was something with the budget committee that Andy wanted them to meet first before we looked at it, but they were behind or something, I think.
Three of
us never.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
met together.
That was never a question.
Budget committee is just, as a committee, it's just kind of.
Well, because some of us might not be here, should we pick some
Yeah, it was not
more for
exactly what I thought it was gonna be.
have more discussion to have first?
Yeah, all right, that's a good. So if our first meeting for the budget is gonna be the 31st, let's pick some that are gonna take more time because
Right,
let's get those started first, some of the bigger items.
Like
Public
transfer
Works,
station.
transfer station, public
Mhm.
safety building, fire EMS. I mean, we probably won't get all those in one meeting, but
right,
let's do those first.
start those first.
And if we have to come back to them later on, at least we've had one round of it.
Right.
And then maybe one of the meetings, when you're gone, we can do some of the easy ones where we can just, they're not gonna change or they change very little.
You're not gonna give yourself a raise this year.
I don't know, I might.
Cause then he's not gonna
Cost
be
of
on
living.
here, so.
So basically what you're saying is you want to knock out as much as you can.
Early.
Right.
But if we're gonna have an actual in-person meeting where all of us will be here before people are going away for vacation, let's do some of the bigger ticket items first.
Okay,
I know last year Mark came up and met with us, and told us like what he was thinking with the budget and
Right, like
some other people.
what we had in on Tuesday, March 22nd, those are probably the biggest ones, right?
Plus, Marjorie, you're meeting with the sheriff too, right?
That's
Next week,
Friday.
Friday.
this week.
And Donald's gonna go too.
Where are
so
you guys meeting?
that's gonna be,
Rockland.
Where?
In Rockland.
Yeah.
So we can hopefully have that on.
right,
And I had a very good conversation with the new deputy. She
so. Then we could
sounded actually reasonable.
go to
So I could probably.
one that's for
attend if you
March
guys want to
15th. You
now.
wanna
What are
do
you meeting
second?
I think
Wait a
good.
minute.
But they're in the meeting, in the
31st.
telephone call. They
Okay.
definitely
So it's
are
not
planning
the
on
next
face-to-face here.
Budget work.
What's the next
Well,
meeting after that?
Yeah, is there other stuff for us to review on the 17th? We can do
But,
that. That's fine with me.
Knock out the
Like this,
wages and that kind of thing.
yeah, like we could do the select board one, like the real easy ones that aren't really,
The ones that don't change.
right? Yeah, we can knock those out on the 17th. Yeah, that's fine with me.
And then do we
Okay,
want
so-
to have,
We'll
Sorry.
tackle, we'll tackle budget, easy budget and select board on the 17th. And then have a budget meeting on the 31st.
Well, it'd be a regular select board meeting, but we'd tackle some budget.
That's
stuff.
true.
Is that right? Or,
do we need to have a third budget meeting in the same month? I mean, select board meeting, or can we push that to like the first week of February? So we
Yeah,
can have
we could-
just a budget.
yeah, we
meeting.
could probably do that on the
I feel like
31st.
that would be better.
Yeah,
better time.
Yeah, and
The
then we could just
31st
say,
is
Just a budget meeting. And we'll have our next, so if our next Board of Selectmen meeting on the 17th, we'll cover some budget items. We'll have an actual budget meeting on the 31st, the bigger ticket items. Then we'll go back to a regular,
selectmen's meeting on
The
the
7th.
7th and maybe
7th.
go over some of the stuff that we did on the 31st, if we need to finish something up. Is that what you're thinking? Or?
we're probably gonna have to have at least
Mhm.
two just budget meetings, I feel like.
Probably this is gonna be twice, I bet.
Right, even the bigger ticket items, we might go through them once and still not approve it because there might have to be changes made, like last year, we had to go back and cut some things.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds good.
Okay,
So for now. We'll meet
Tackle
next in
these.
2 weeks. We'll meet in 2 weeks after that. And then we'll start meeting, we might have to start meeting weekly just to get through things
in
right.
February.
in February.
So. the
That's what we did
7th,
last year.
You wanna
Yeah.
do. Like this one here.
This is the first one, yeah, where we can get whatever items that aren't gonna be
Mhm.
changing by a much or a large percentage.
Right.
Let's get through those on the 17th.
Probably those first two bullet points.
Yeah, the first two probably,
Mhm.
most of those. And then we'll start on the bigger ticket items on the 31st.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
Sounds good to me.
And then after the 31st, we'll try to work in
Some at
everything
the end,
else
okay.
for February.
Right,
That's what we'll do from now until through the end of the month.
yeah, I mean, if on the 17th, and we made, if we knock out the easy ones, it's not like any department head has to scurry to get in what the select board budget's gonna be, because hasn't changed in
Hasn't changed since I've been here.
Yeah, I don't know, last time it did change.
Who's on the budget committee, Eric?
Is it just you and Bill?
I
Was
was
Bill
on
out
that
going
one,
on
yeah.
it last year with you guys?
Yeah, Bill was on that
Bill
last
was
year.
on. Yeah.
Oh, Donald, you were
Oh, I
on.
thought,
was
I
there,
thought Eric said he wanted to be on it
I
this year.
did too.
I thought he said that too.
Eric Gasparini, did he
Yeah.
ask to be on?
Yes,
No.
he did say that.
No, so I should clarify.
Yeah,
He did.
I meant Eric Gasparini, because he said when he got off, he said
asked
that he was gonna,
He
he
was
wanted to.
strongly hinting, but he has not approached you or anyone on this board, so
I say we just know.
Voluntary.
Margaret Quayle, Eric Davis, and Bill Alcorn.
Yeah, it'd be good.
He said he was gonna do it when he got off, but that was before he had the new job he's got now.
Right.
But February's not a big,
Lobster month.
no.
I'll send him a message.
Unfortunately.
Ask him if he remembers saying that, say, because we all do.
Because we all do.
I'll send him a
Congratulations on
text
you-
message.
you have hit pretty good guys.
We'll all pick
Oh,
on him.
yeah.
Yes,
All right.
everybody pick on him.
are we good on the budget for now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then let's move on to the Hurricane Island Foundation. Question from attorney to consolidate pending appeal proceedings.
Say if that our attorneys recommended doing it, then we should just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that the selectmen were supportive of that. And it's basically that fourth paragraph, recommend that the town agree to consolidate the appeals and request a stay from further consideration of the same until Maine Supreme Judicial Court has reached a decision.
So that's what the motion should read.
I think so.
So this is still about
Mhm.
just the abatements,
Yep.
but I,
Well, they appealed, we won a ruling, they appealed it, and it's still waiting for the state Supreme Court, what state court, I thought is what he called it before, but
State Board of
The
Property
law.
Tax. Review.
Walker, yeah, I
Oh.
think maybe that's what he called it, but
but
so,
Are
so
they
now
gonna-
they've got another one for another year that's gonna have the same thing happen to it, so it's like,
but the
instead of
question,
spending more money,
but the
right?
question I still want answered is, are they an actual owner who can request this abatement? Because they are not actually the owner of the
That's right.
property.
Well,
They
that's
only
what
have a
they're-
lease.
That's
Are
what-
they gonna be deciding that in this appeal?
I think so, yeah.
Because that's the thing that I'm still waiting on, because until that happens,
Nothing. Yeah.
exactly, like they
Well, that's
can't,
what
they
the-
can't claim to get an abatement for property they don't own unless they're the owner,
But they're,
right?
but
Right.
since there's no ruling, they're asking for an abatement for the last year.
Right.
So if we don't consolidate this one, then we have to go to the district court. and
Well,
then-
I'm not against doing that. I just want, I want the answer to that question
Well,
first.
that's what we're all waiting
Yeah.
for.
Right, that's what we're all waiting for.
Why can't they answer that question? That seems like a very straightforward.
Because I'm sure it
Question
hasn't
to me.
even, I'm sure they haven't even presented. No, they did present. didn't
Yeah,
they?
that's one of the
We're
questions.
waiting on a ruling now,
Yes,
yeah.
we're still waiting on that ruling. All these other appeals hinge
Well,
on
they're
that.
just as slow as the real Supreme Court, because they just hear arguments in November and don't rule till like June. So,
Wow. All right, well, do we need to make a motion or?
yeah. You want me to read it?
I would
Was there-
appreciate
I
it.
make a motion that the town agrees to consolidate the appeals and request a stay for further consideration of the same until the Maine Supreme Judicial Court has reached a decision.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Is that what you wanted? Or was that pretty
Yes.
close?
Thank you.
I tried to outline what you said when you were reading it. I wasn't sure if you wanted me
Well, it's
to.
right in, yeah, it's right in that. thing.
No, I didn't.
You'll make it right.
All right, so move on to 10, report of town manager.
I was able to get the airport lease all signed, so that's all done. We already talked briefly about the fact that I'm gonna, and Donald's going to join me, meet with the sheriff. Well, it's actually the sheriff, the chief deputy, county administrator, Andrew Hart, Sharon Pullman, who is a county commissioner, and Rick Latimer from North Haven asked if he could also join us, so it's gonna be quite a big group. Any questions about that? Okay,
Do you want anyone else to go or are you all set?
I think I don't want too many people. What do
Okay.
you, I mean, you're welcome.
No, I
just-
mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be up at all on Friday. That's like, I mean, since I know when the meeting's gonna be, I can say it. But if you guys are good, I'm good.
Okay. certainly, again, you're welcome.
Where it's gonna be in Rockland somewhere?
At the courthouse down, you go in the back side there. You know what I mean? Where the.
I know where the courthouse is, but I'm not sure if I know where you mean. There's a bunch of different.
There's a parking lot. and-
Oh, on the
in
back side, okay.
and There's double glass doors. It's the commissioner's chambers.
Okay.
I think that's what.
If
it
for
is.
some reason I happen to be over there, maybe I'll show up, but
Hope Stephens unfortunately has resigned. She went to work for the land trust, so. I've asked Elizabeth to fill in with more hours and she said yes, so I'm pleased about that. But she's gonna have to go back to her historical society job in the summer and her other job, but. So I just need to continue to talk with staff to see if we wanna advertise again for the full-time position. We probably will, but I think we're okay for now. If that's all right with you, we'll just.
I'll leave
It's-
that up to you.
Okay,
and
it's slow
staff.
right now, and like I said, Elizabeth is gonna be coming in the morning.
Until at least, I can do until at least. April into May.
Yeah, so I just feel like if that's working out for us, then we'll wait to advertise for the position again.
Yep.
I had our retirement plan representative come
see,
last month, yeah. And the question came up about how we do an annual contribution at the end of our fiscal year. And the personnel policy always used to be specific. That it excluded overtime wages. It just says full-time employees. And then it says, please see the town manager for further details. I guess I just want clarification. When I looked at older personnel policies and it was much more clear. And this, it says see the town manager, but I'm not clear on.
I wouldn't think it would include overtime.
I'm not aware of it ever including overtime.
Mm-mm.
So
I don't get paid overtime, so I don't know.
we just,
I don't get paid.
I know.
overtime, so that
That
doesn't-
may be why we're not aware of it.
That's why.
That
so
would
it's
seem
6% of the
bit
budgeted wages
extreme to
is
me.
what we do. And that, I think from looking at the budget, that's the intent. So I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
It's
we
fine.
need to clarify that then in the
personal,
personnel policy, then
we
we
can.
can do that.
And then I did give you a budget report. So this goes through December, so that's we should be at 50%. I think the only,
It's the legal and professional services,
Yeah.
right? That's where we're
Yeah.
over.
Debbie and I talked about it a lot and we went through all the invoices from Drummond and Woodsum and we decided, and we looked at the budget and we took all the invoices that were charged to the downtown project and put those over into the planning budget. When I read the planning budget, it does include that kind of thing.
Yes.
So we felt like we were okay moving those expenses to the planning budget.
Okay.
And we took the Woodard and Curran invoices for the High Street plan. And we also put that over into planning to try to move some of the expenses out of this line. And again, if you read the budget in planning, I think it fits, so I don't really feel conflicted about it at all.
So
So that
does
went
it-
into the service fees part of the planning.
Well, I was just gonna ask,
Yeah.
does this number here reflect that reclass or is this before you've
Yeah,
done that?
unfortunately,
It does.
this
So we're-
reflects.
So we're
what
still
you
over,
already reclassed.
okay,
So, the
It's-
legal is still way over, and there's some left in engineering. The town meeting article just talked about the 70,000. So there's 8,000 left right now, but we're only at,
So
We're only in
so you put that
December.
9,000 whatever back into this account too?
Yes,
And
that's in
that's
there.
included
Yeah,
in that?
yeah.
Well, this says we're 6,000 over.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. So, I did update it. Yeah, when I made the copies for you, it was before I
So
had the
this doesn't
discussion.
include the reclass. Is what you're saying.
It does not.
Okay,
So what
so
should
we
that,
still have a balance of 8K.
We have a balance of $8,189.40. I apologize. I should have made new copies.
That's okay. I just,
Would you repeat that?
8,189.
$8,189.40.
Thank you.
Well, then, I mean, we're gonna get another bill
I
from
know.
the lawyers, like just Hurricane Island
Mhm,
right there.
mhm.
Yeah, you guys started it.
I didn't start it.
No, we didn't
We didn't
start.
start
They
it.
Don't
started
look
it.
at me.
If
They
we win this
started
thing, are we gonna be able to go back and
Agreed.
collect fees from them, lawyers fees out of pocket?
I don't think so. I think they'll just have to pay us the taxes that they owe
well,
us.
they've already paid some of them, right?
They haven't paid for a couple of years now, have they?
Hurricane Island, they paid some of the years they're looking for, they paid.
Right, they have, but I think them,
17, 18, 19.
they're up to date. They haven't not paid
I
recently.
would swear to the fact that they're up to date, but they have been paying.
Like the 16, 17, 18.
Yeah,
think
no,
they
I
paid
think
those.
like through 2019 at least. they
17,
paid.
18, 18, 19.
Right, so like through 2019, I think they paid, right? But did they stop
Mhm.
I
paying?
have to,
But I
I
mean, we
think they
can,
did. I
okay.
think they did.
Yeah, they did pay,
okay.
So
but I
I
don't
think
know
our
about
budget,
current.
overall, the budget looks really good to me. I mean, most of the departments are well below the 50%.
And some of the ones I saw that were
Says here.
100% were
Well,
only
that's
because it was
just
like
transfers.
$1,000.
That
and it
nickel
was
and dime.
a-
stuff
Yeah, it
is
was like
like-
$100 over on
Yeah.
$1,000
The only one that's
budget
even
line.
close is
But-
transfer station
they
at
think
48.6.
Maybe they
It's still,
haven't paid it. I don't know.
it's
They
still
haven't
under
paid
the
it.
50. The capital projects line looks funny, but that's because those are transfers to reserves and we've made the transfers to reserves. So it looks like we're spending the money, but it's just that we've taken that money and transferred it into the reserve funds. The road repair line is only at 27%.
So law enforcement, we cut that back last year, right? Because we weren't getting a second deputy. And we're still only at like 30% after 6 months.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
So. I mean, we must have money like left over from years prior that we allocated to that line, right?
Yeah, it just gets rolled into fund balance, but yeah.
So like, do we even need to
Yeah, we
put
cut
that
it,
into the
So
budget
I
this
think-
year?
we cut it back from like 170,000,
Yeah.
106.
I feel like
so
we
think
might
it's
even be able to
fine.
just take like 2 or 3 years prior that we had fund balance and not even have it this year.
Now, those funds.
Can we take leftover law enforcement budget and put it into the lawyer fees as kind of?
That's probably
Same,
not.
same thing.
Probably not.
Starts with the same three letters.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean, one of the conversations that's going to come up is, do we want that second deputy? So
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
I
last,
think the town has demonstrated through town meeting that they
They want-
do.
yeah,
well, every time I hear about it is we need to have 24/7 coverage where we can't.
Well, they
get
want
that much
someone
we
here
do.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
yeah.
want 24/7 coverage, but they
Someone-
want someone here 7 nights a week.
Right,
Yeah.
sorry,
That's
7
the
nights a week.
They want
yeah.
someone on island.
Yeah.
7 nights a week. If they're not on duty 24/7, that's
Right,
fine, but they
yeah.
want. That's what I hear.
That's what I hear
Yeah,
too,
it's the
yes,
Same thing.
yes.
I mean, everything else looks, I didn't highlight anything else really. If you have
So,
any questions.
On the legal, the professional services, is that something we need to go back and ask for additional funds? At
We
this point,
might.
or,
Not until we need it.
I think if we explain it properly and talk about the Hurricane Island situation, there'd be no problem getting approval, which is just to be proactive on it.
Mhm.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
it's just how much do you think
we probably should start budgeting on more than whatever, how many of our hours or whatever we budget for.
Well, hopefully it'll be less going forward because we won't have.
But there's
court cases.
always something.
I know there's always something, but
Put more in.
Just in case, and then you can always not use it the next
Well,
year.
Yep, exactly.
I'd like to wait another month and see how we're going before we do a
That's
special town
fine.
meeting.
Yeah.
that's fine.
So with the Knox County tax, they just want it all up front.
Yeah,
So, okay.
Yeah,
I see
that's-
that's at 100%, and I assume
yeah.
that that was just,
We have to pay that in September or November, by November 1st, I believe. Both the communication tax and the Knox County tax.
yeah, no, I see they're at 100%, and I was just curious, they, not like the school, and they just send things every month, every 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, and they're right at 50%, which is logical.
Right, yeah, no.
Well, anyway, I think overall it looks good.
Anything else?
I don't.
All right. We'll move on to 11, report of members.
I have nada.
I'd like to thank the town crew for the ball ground. That was excellent skating, some of the best skating we've had
I know.
since my kids were born. Where Sean mowed and then they had the new thing made. It was high enough so that, I mean, there was a lot of people down there for those
2 days.
Yeah.
three, I think
It
it was
was
3
great.
the kids got down there,
Hopefully
but I
it
just,
freeze again.
Millie was
I
down
don't-
there with her kids and we thanked her, but just
I
to
don't think
thank
it will.
everyone, so,
I don't think it'll freeze again.
Right.
yeah.
Never again.
Good Lord.
I did have contact where I think I may have a long-term 3-bedroom rental in sight if it develops that woman still wants, there's still a candidate who wants to live out here.
Okay.
Oh, for the law enforcement candidate, yeah.
Yes, please let them know that.
I've already talked to him.
Okay.
And you'll be at the meeting on
Yep.
Friday, so that'll be good.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
I have one more thing. I saw a Facebook posting from Luke about losing a mirror because of overhanging trees on the road. So
Did he
this
let-
is,
he
this
didn't
is
let
an
you
issue
know?
that we need to do, take care of.
Mhm.
Did you say where?
I haven't talked to him, he just,
Okay.
it was on
I'm
Facebook.
sure
this
after
morning.
that storm, there's even more stuff
Oh,
hanging
yeah.
over.
I mean, I think they have done a lot. Well, not necessarily our crew, because they have a lot of other things to do, but I know Fox Island has done a lot of tree
Tree
work in the
work,
last few years, and that,
Yeah, there's
I think has helped
ongoing.
us. Not lose power as much like in that last storm, like, it
Right.
could have been worse if they hadn't been doing that work, so.
Yeah, and they busted their butts as it was.
They did a
Right.
great job.
Yeah,
2 guys on crew,
yeah,
You should
Mhm.
commend
I mean,
them,
it's-
though.
and
Yes, they
I
did do
know
a great
I had
job.
one guy
Do
with
it.
COVID during the storm. They had two
Yeah.
crew members and then some helpers, so they did,
Yeah,
I think the town crew helped out quite a bit though,
I have no idea.
on removing trees.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
But compared to people in Portland who went 48 hours without power, we did pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
My buddy works for a mayor. They didn't have power on Cranberry Island until 2 days after Christmas, so
wow.
And their store burned down
Yeah,
on Great Cranberry.
I didn't hear
Their
that.
store burned
lost
down.
their store.
There's a
Damn.
general
Wow.
store. And it burned right down to the ground.
Was it a
I-
generator
It was a
issue?
I
generator.
think so.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, we're lucky that we don't have, like, Islesboro has CMP, so they have to wait till the next day. when the
Oh,
boats
if
go
we
to
had
get to them.
CMP, we wouldn't get it for a week.
We
Well,
still
luckily we
wouldn't
have-
have it.
We probably.
Crew that lives on the
Right.
island.
That was like with Bill Alcone and Dell were pushing that and wanted us to switch them. They came to Selectmen's meeting and had this great plan to save all this money by switching to CMP. But luckily Bonnie had started to work down in Islesboro and the first guy I met was the CMP employee. Who's all by himself till they get pretty much everything else done.
Right.
Then they'll send help.
Right,
And he said, that's the worst thing that could happen here on island, is have CMP.
right,
Come,
because yes, we'd be the bottom of the
Well, we're in
total.
charge now with, I mean,
yeah.
with Fox Island, I mean,
Yeah.
the 2 islands don't
That's
need
it,
to.
Yeah,
Mm.
all right,
We're
that is
pretty
it,
fortunate.
I will Move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Sorry, I was a little bit late, but like I said, I was just getting in tonight.
No,